Hello YouTube. Hi, my name is Mark and this is Nixon Motorsports. Hey, this channel is all about motorsports, from racing to exotic cars and even simulators. Today's video, this is an update on engine performance. We're here at the Circuit of the Americas doing some testing, and if you remember the main topic of preparing the race car for high-speed racetracks, right? There's 4 topics, I'll remind you again. So it's engine, it's power, it's aerodynamics, it's rolling resistance, and it's ultimately just chassis and tune. Today though, we have exhaust gas temp sensors on the race car. If you saw that video just a few weeks back, the idea is we're going to see what cylinders are doing at higher speeds, and we hope we learn something from that today. So with that, let's get in the car, let's go see what this does. So let me just talk a little bit about engine performance, the exhaust gas temperature sensors that we put on the race car. Before I show you some of the data, let me talk about again the reason why, and a reason why you might want to consider doing that yourself. The first and foremost was we've had a misfire before with one of our cylinders, and that took us out of a race, unfortunately, so we were pretty irritated over that. EGT, or exhaust gas temp sensors, actually are a great tool for that. So we've set up our dash where if we have any kind of a misfire, exhaust gas temp will tell you, and the idea is that we would know, hopefully before we rolled on track, we would know what cylinder it is, you know, that type of thing, and we could take care of it hopefully before we had an issue out on track, right? So that's the first reason I think EGT sensors are great. The second reason, you know, back in the theme of trying to prepare the race car for high-speed racetracks, right? Extracting the most we can out of the engine, right? So it actually sings and works extremely well. Look, on engine dyno, we get great power, 223 horse out of this motor. Now, an engine dyno is not real world. It does not have the load on it. The transmission or rear tires. I mean, all the rolling aspects of the race car. It does not have the ram air inlet. So, if you think about an engine, it's an air pump, right? So the more air that the engine can consume or intake, and the more efficient it is to move that air through the engine, out through the exhaust and so on, the more power it's going to have. So exhaust gas temp sensors, we've put them on the car so we had visibility. Back to, we've had engine dyno work done to tune the engine. We wanted to see what the engine looked like at speed, meaning not RPM speed, but meaning where the race car is doing 140, 150 plus miles an hour, and that increased air volume in through the engine intake. We wanted to see what that did or showed us through exhaust gas temps, and that was the idea. We were not sure if we would learn anything, to be honest with you. It was simply, let's do it, let's see what it shows us, and so on. The secondary part of that is we wanted to determine, okay, should we take this race car back on dyno, but this time instead of an engine dyno, let's put it on a chassis dyno. And a chassis dyno, when you think about it, you're testing the engine in the race car, in its wire harness, all its electronics, with the differential, with the load, if you will, right, the rotating mass that it actually has in real world. A chassis dyno would actually do that. Now, the part that it does not do is provide 150 mile an hour plus air intake through the air inlet here into the pendulum of the engine, right? So I'm not sure at this point if we're going to actually do that. I'm not sure if we'd find any benefit. Leave your comments on that, right? If you know of a chassis dyno out there that actually can force high speed air at volume, through the air intake, that would be actually quite cool. But let me pan over here and show you what we saw based on runs. And as I pull up and look at the Motec data here, you can see a run. Now, the first worksheet that I put in place here, basically it's showing each of the cylinders and their physical temperature, and you see that on the left side of the screen. Now, looking to the right is just histograms of the same data. So it shows you the percent of time in the temperature windows between each of the cylinders. And for the most part, they're very similar. Now, keep in mind, EGT sensors, right? They have to be the same distance away from the valve. They have to be the certain depth and the same depth actually in the header itself, in the single tube that's out from the cylinder. And in any variation there will actually change the values, right? But looking at this data, it actually shows a very similar pattern. We don't see, let's put it that way, anything that is profound or attention gathering, if you will, between any of the cylinders. And that's really what we were looking for, to see if it would show us something of concern, meaning we should get it on the chassis dyno and kind of take it from there. But if I move over, so one more worksheet that I put in place. So this is a splatter plot. Again, each cylinder. So on the far left is cylinder 1, cylinder 2, 3, and then 4 to the right. And it's basically the temperature, exhaust gas temp, over speed. So as I wanted to see if there was any correlation or difference between cylinders as the race car increases speed, because air volume will be increasing through the air box, right? The ram air effect. And so that's what this is showing. There is some slight differences, as you can tell, but for the most part, the pattern looks very, very similar. So, that's what we saw. Right, so exhaust gas temp, sensors, engine performance. Hey, EGT sensors I think are a good idea to have. It's a low-cost item. Just from a potential misfire alone, I think is a good idea. And again, you can kind of see these in here. If I point there, you can see those little cables right here. But yeah, so that's it for this video though. Kind of a quick update on engine performance. and kind of where we're at. At this point, we're probably going to pass on chassis dyno. We have to digest some of the data a little bit further than what we've done, and share it with one of our Motec tuners, get his 2 cents on it as well. But at this point, we'll probably not do the chassis dyno, as I said. So lots of content coming out. You know how it works, right? If you subscribe, you know, you'll actually get notification of the new content and videos that are coming out. So you know, make sure you do that. I encourage the comments. I get a lot of very interesting questions, and for all of you who've done that, thank you. I think it's fun to have a dialogue and a conversation with all of you. So, but that's it for now. Until next time, all right? Ciao.